watching episode 205 of the Knitting Samurai and Her Guys video podcast, Good Omens. I'm Steph, who is trying to be very professional for some reason today. I'm not normally professional. I'm normally silly me, but today I feel like I should be professional. Sorry, side tangent. Okay, so the show today is going to have two finished objects, an update on my blanket, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the knit along, binding off blankets knit along that's happening over in the Ravelry group. New other whips and just some updates on what's going on with us. We had some birthdays this week. So let's jump right in. So first up, my Desert Vista Dye Works socks are finished for the month of March. I finished them that morning or that night? The night before, Saturday night. And I've worn them. I think I forgot how to knit socks, guys. It's been so long since I've knit a pair, and I made this foot like way too long. I knit these toe up with Wendy Johnson's slip stitch heel, I think is what it's called. Both of them toe up. I don't know. Either my feet are shrinking, or this yarn has more stretch than I expected, or they will tighten up when they're washed. Maybe I'll throw them in the dryer for a few minutes. Either way, they are super bright. I love them. This is the color Laser Tag. I knit it on size 0s, and I did my traditional 2x2 rib across the top of the foot and around the leg. Oh, and there's some sewing thread on this because there's been some sewing. More on that later. But so these are done and off my needles. The other finished project I finished last night. So, and I might insert a picture because I don't think you're gonna get the full effect of his little cuteness. This is the Red Heart elephant pattern. It has a number for the name. It's like Edward and Emily Knit Elephant or something. Look at his little tail and his cute little, I think it's like a beret hat. His ears are not great. I improvised. I didn't want to have to stitch, and I should have done it as two pieces and sewn them together. Mistake there. But otherwise, I think he came out pretty darn cute. And I was sewing him up last night at bedtime. And so Tristan immediately, seeing that this is almost done, and he sits pretty well. I don't know if you can see the arm, but he does. He sits on his little bum with his legs out in front of him. Tristan immediately, that's my 4-year-old, almost 5, started asking for, can I have a mouse? Can I have a monkey? Can I have a rhinoceros? Can I have a T-Rex? Like, honey, these all take a while. And then he landed on, he wanted a staff, like a walking stick. Like, honey, those are made out of wood. I can't knit you one that would be sturdy. Silly boy. But, so here he is. I use some, I think they're called safety eyes. They've got the metal back and you push it through. You know, that's something that's kind of, it's a little weird when you do it the first time and then you get used to doing it. But anyways, yeah, so those were the ones I had. I definitely gave him oversized eyes for his head, but I put them, the pattern was very clear about where to put the eyes, so that was great. I would not, if I were to do this again, I would knit the 2 little legs up to this point and then cast on for the bum and just add them in. Like, I wouldn't have done them as 3 separate pieces, if that makes sense. Yeah, the arms, if I had picked up and gone down, right, instead of sewing them on, if I had just picked up stitches, they would have been pointed at the end, or I could have Kitchenered them, but I'm not a big Kitchener fan. So I think I like the arms the way they were written. The nose needs a little more upness, but otherwise he's great. I like the hat. It was a little confusing how to attach the 2 pieces of the hat, and for sewing, for assembly, the pattern just said, look at the picture, follow the picture. Like, okay, I think that's how the hat should look. So he's our little mariner elephant. I don't know that he has a name yet. I don't think so, but when I was done sewing him, Tristan was asleep, so I left him on Tristan's nightstand. Actually, I laid him down so that when Tristan woke up, they'd be face to face. And of course, this morning he comes running in my room. He's like, Mommy, Mommy, my elephant! So it's well worth the fiddliness for that kind of reaction to a knit toy. But I will tell you that he found the, Rebecca Danger pattern. That's the Brontosaurus. I love it. I knit it with, I'm gonna get this right, opal Blind Venus, I think. It's a beautiful, it's one of their art colorways, and it has reds and blues, and it's got fake fair isle in it, and it's just a beautiful yarn. I knit myself a pair of socks, and then I knit this. Where are those socks? When we moved, I packed my socks up, and I don't know where they are. Like, we moved 3 years ago. Where are my socks? Found the Brontosaurus, and I should have put a pipe cleaner in his neck so his head would stay up. I had knit it for Roland way back in the day when he was probably 2 or 3, when Ro was 2 or 3. He's 7 now. Although I did post pictures of him on Instagram and on Facebook saying that he was 8.5. No, he's 7.5. Don't make him any older than he is. Tristan found the Brontosaurus, and he took it to bed with him, and stuffies get lost in Tristan's bed. It's a twin size bed, and he's 42 inches and 46 pounds. Like, he's a little guy. And I have the boys help me with laundry every week. So they strip their beds, and then I remake them for them, obviously. But we lost a phone this way too. So we've got to get better about this, because the Brontosaurus was in with the sheets, and it went through the washing machine. So now it's really, really, really floppy. But it's still beautiful to look at. So yeah, the boys have to strip their beds, and they have to, when I fold clothes, they have to put their clothes back in their drawers. That's and they bellyache about it every time, but you know what? You wear clothes, you put it away. That's the rule. So those are my 2 FOs. The blanket knit along. So I am hosting a blanket knit along through June 2nd. I'm flipping back to get some details for you, because nope, that's not it. Don't you love my little pink notebook? It's so cute. So cute. I'll show it to you. I think I got it at Michael's, knowing me. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so the cap. Here are the details one more time, just in case you're thinking about jumping in and joining us. So it runs till June 2nd. Whips are welcome, so bring it if you got it. And if you finish a blanket that's 40 inches on the longest side, that's 1 entry. If you finish one that's more than 80 inches, that's 3. Yeah, so 40 to 79, that's 1 entry. If you use one of our Progress Keepers, the AdoreKnit Progress Keepers that we sell in our Etsy shop, if you put one of those on your project and use it, that's an extra 2 points. There will be 2 to 3 drawings throughout, and the grand prize will be, I think I said a gift certificate to the shop, although I'm not sure about that. So, yay! And the prizes along the way are going to be your choice of a $10 pattern of your choosing, or a $10 gift certificate to the shop, whichever you prefer. So that's going on right now, and the reason we're doing this is to help me knit a blanket for our friend Nikita. So here is what I started. This is the Northeasterly by Melissa Alexander Loomis. I accidentally, right? So this is so fun to knit. Let me just say that, right? You're changing colors. I mixed in some stripes as I was going along. I love the color of these stripes. I accidentally, on my first section, like a baby blanket should be about 36 inches. It's way too long. I should have ended it a whole section earlier, number 1. Number 2, I was using my leftover yarn, you get the was, and I don't like these colors together. It looks, I mean, it's okay for a lap Afghan for me, or maybe my grandmother or something, but to give this to a coworker / friend who's very city, I want it to be something nice. Do you know what I mean when I say very city? I mean, like, I live in New Hampshire. I'm easygoing, whatever. I don't wear makeup all the time. Like, my hair's a mess most days. But she lives in New York City and commutes into Manhattan every day. And the nursery is gray with gray. Like, she's very trendy. So I want her to have something nice and trendy. And you see, I had good intentions down here, but then I got confused by yellow and orange. I think that's really... So I set this aside. I said, you know what? I'm not loving this. I'm using size 8s. What are these? Knitter's Pride? this people that make carbons, and I love them. The different sizes are a different color. I don't use double points ever, but which is why I had to buy them for this project, but I appreciate that. So you use the double points and you can be working on multiple columns at the same time. So that's not me. I want to finish one and then start the next so I can match the colors. Anyways, I was working on that and I don't love it, I don't love it. And then my cousin came for her birthday and I cleaned up, well, I have my desk in the den. I'm looking at it right now. It's right there. That's where I make my stitch markers. And there's a space between the desk and the window over here. And I kind of shove project bags in there and other things, half-finished sweaters and socks and what am I looking at? Yeah, so she was coming, so I needed to clean that up. It looked up pretty messy. So while I was going through it, I found a Desert Vista Dye Works, a bag with 2 skeins of Desert Vista Dye Works that I don't remember buying, that had never been opened. So that's great. Since I'm doing the knit along, I was like, all right. So I cast one on right away. You're going to see it in a second. But I also found 2 skeins of this yarn. Same yarn I've been using for the Northeaster, but 2 skeins. And look at how pretty. Someone with a better color sense than me put these colors together. There's 2 shades of gray, like the nursery. And I actually had one more, like this bit left. I had been using the brown, cutting the brown out and using it for a baby sweater, the brown and the teal. And so I thought I would make another, so I bought 2 more skeins of this, but then I lost them in the black hole that is the space next to the desk. So now that I found it, I decided, okay, that's each one of these big cakes, that's a 80 acrylic, 20% wool. And it's definitely, I don't spin, but it's definitely like worsted, or because I have some of these other acrylic yarns from big box stores, and this definitely has a more rustic look about it, which I like that. Like, I don't want to use the smoother low pill ones. So Tristan's sweater was one of the smoother low pill ones. So anyways, this is how many? 383 yards. So that's, I must have hit meters on my Ravelry page. So that's 760 yards of these 2 plus this much. So it's probably 800. I have plenty, right? And so when I do work in stripes, they're going to coordinate. Itchy nose. I'm really excited about this. So, but this is all I've done. Just this wee bit, but it's cool. And the gray color, oh, I hope I didn't get makeup up of my lip. Not makeup, lipstick. The gray color has flecks of the teal, the really electric bright teal jade color in it. So those are fun to see. So I think it'll all tie together and be really nice for her. So I am much more enthusiastic about that than I was the other one. But I'm also being kind of slow. Well, I like blast off at the beginning of the month on my sock knitting last month, and I think I had the first one done because I was trying to keep pace with Erin. Like, what is Erin doing? I'm gonna follow her. And then I had other knits, the leg warmers. What else did I have to finish? I had like 3 March FOs. Oh, the socks, the Luck socks for St. Patrick's Day, and so they got put aside. And so then at the end of the month, I was busting my butt to get that last pair done. Second sock done, not last pair, second sock in time for the end of the month. So the blanket kind of got set aside, but I will be back onto it. But in the meantime, one of the colors I found was this. It's called Night. It's the Vizio base, so it's 25 nylon, 75 superwash. And you know what else I don't understand? I must have lost a piece of yarn, a ball of yarn, because these used, I weighed them, 425 yards. No, I didn't weigh them. I weighed my leftovers. I bet one of those trips to Blitz, I lost a little skein because I did both the heels at Blitz and they're not fraternal. No, I did the second one at home. I did the first one there. The heels are not the same exactly, but then they line back up afterwards. So that's fine. But it said I used 425 yards, which seems like a huge amount for only a 4-inch cuff to me. But then again, I did make them super long. So Steve might end up with those. This Steve or my dad. My dad would probably appreciate it more. I'm all over the place, you guys. So this is night. I showed you this. I took my size 0 needles and I cast on right away on the first. And I love it. I could not love this color more. It's such a perfect Stephanie color. So perfect. Grays and shades of teal. Oh, it's gorgeous. So I am doing, you could tell they're different lengths. I am doing Megan Williams Partying Up and Getting Down socks. I mentioned that I wanted another pair of those. So that's what I'm working on. But yeah, the gray is like, not splotchy, but it's really variegated. And the light teal is more of a solid color, and then the dark teal again is more variegated. It's really pretty. I love this. I love this color. So I could tell they're gonna be a favorite. So, and they are living in, because this is the only bag I brought with me today, my Bling Your String bag that I love to do this to. And then it's a cute little like yarn bowl holder thing. So there's that. That's what I have for knitting. So I can't work on my northeasterly and knit at the same time. Can I do this and knit? Probably not. They're both, this is a little bit of thinking till I get it going strong, and then it's like, okay, here's where to do what. So yeah, so the last 2 weeks, because it's been a little while since we talked, Monday and Tuesday, Mom and I have had a date. And it's been a sewing date, and we've sewed for 4 or 5 hours each day. So she is the sewist, I should say that. She is very good at that. I am happy cutting and ironing. Like, I would cut fabric all day. I love cutting fabric. So, and putting the zippers together and like matching it all up. It's very creative with the thread color and all that. So we've been making some spring dresses for toddlers, babies, and we've been making some project bags. So they're not ready to go live yet. I'm realizing that unlike stitch markers where I could take one, if I make the sets the same, I could take one picture and use it. For these, because we're using up the fabric stash that we had, they're not all identical. So as we get through this, and maybe if you guys like them and we make more, then I'll be able to take one picture and have it be multiple bags that look like that. Although I don't know if I don't cut the squares in the same places in the fabric. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it's really fun so far. And I recognize, right? I don't know who it was. I put a photo up on Instagram and they pointed out, you know, you're very lucky to have that time with your mom. And I am. Like, it's a blessing to be able to spend time with her, do something that makes us both happy. It's stress-free, right? Because she's thinking, we're not talking about any heavy issues. There are no boys around. It's just, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And she does something, and then I do a step, and she does a step, and we're going back and forth, and it's just really fun time together. So she loves to sew, and the more we're doing this, like, she made quilts, she did curtains, she did all kinds of stuff when I was young, but not for a while now. So as we're making more, like the first 2 bags, oh, that one's for me, oh, that one's for my cousin, because the first one was way too small, and the second one I accidentally cut in the wrong place, so she had to patch it, and so we're working out our kinks together. So hopefully we'll have something up in the shop in the next coming weeks. I would say before May, there should be a pretty big upload of, I'll put notes about it on Instagram and in the Ravelry group when we're ready to launch. But it's good, it's fun, it's really, really fun. So what else do I have to tell you? I did a little calculating on how much yarn I weighed. I found the scale. I hid it from myself. You know, you put things away so good. I'm just better off if I put nothing away. Anyways, I found my scale and I got my weights in, and so I figured out that for the first 3 months of the year, I've knit 2,700 yards. So Stash Dash is almost 3 months long, and granted, you're using whips for that, but I'm not knitting on pace for Stash Dash. So I am knitting more right? I told you I was feeling more motivated, but I'm still not as fast a knitter as I'd like to be. Because if I stay at that almost 3,000 yards times 4 months is 12,000, I want to get back up to knitting like 16,000 yards a year, which would really help cut down on my yarn mountains. So, because right now the big double door closets in this room and the boys' playroom are stacked to the ceiling with bins of yarn. So I'd really like to, I got rid of one bin last year, so that was good. And I'd like to get rid of another bin this year. So that's kind of, it's one of those goals in the back of my mind that I'm working on. I found Good Omen. So that's I was a blushing mess last week talking about David Tennant because I do so love him. But I saw a commercial that said that there's a book. It's a book that they've made into this movie with David, or series with David Tennant. So before the series came out, I grabbed the audiobook. Super cute. Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. What? I had no idea they wrote a book together. Where have I been? Terry Pratchett's decent enough, whatever. I don't feel a strong connection with his writing and his works, but Neil Gaiman, I love everything I've ever read by him. The Graveyard, #1. But The Ocean at the End of the Lane, whatever that was, like, he's just a really good writer. I like it. The Norse Gods one, that was fun. Like, I like it when he reads them. He didn't read this one, but it was still a really good little jaunt, and you had all your characters, and they found their way together, and it was just great. So if you want to watch it, listen to it before the show comes out on May 31st, I want to say. Good choice. Good choice. While we had the double birthday party, so my dad and my cousin are a week apart. She turned 24. God, she's so young. She's a baby. She spent a couple nights with us, and we had a double birthday party. Mom made carrot cake. Beautiful carrot cake. I was so proud of her. She loves to make cakes since she got the KitchenAid blender thing. Cakes and frostings and whatever. So she did that. We had a great time. We played games, and then we went for a walk on the beach and got some beach glass, sea glass for Steve. He likes that, to collect that stuff. And the boys got the fresh air, and it was really fun. And then we played Star Wars Family Feud. So fun. I will say, I think I would like Star Wars Trivial Pursuit better, but this was okay because it's what do people think? It's not actually what is in the movie. It's like what kind of music would Obi-Wan like was one of the questions. It's like, you have to come up with 6 answers, and the first one is Cantina music, but what are the other 6 gonna be? So what did people think? And so it wasn't really my cup of tea, but let me tell you, those 2 boys of mine, so excited, so much fun. And Tristan was awesome when it was like, what other lightsabers could there be? He got the final out of 10 answers. He came up with a pink lightsaber and stole all their points. So we won that round. We split up. Steve was the announcer, and Tristan and I went against Roland and Lauren, thinking, because Lauren's seen like maybe one of the Star Wars movies, like has no knowledge. And Tristan, he has a hard time articulating sometimes, or, you know, so it was really Roland and I against each other. So he won 2, we won 1, and it was because of Tristan. So that was awesome. That was a really good time. And we watched Ragnarok, because who doesn't love Thor? And we watched, what else did we watch? Phantom Menace, whatever the first 3 episodes, like not release wise, episode 1. We watched that. Steve and the boys turned it on, and then LT and I ended up sitting and watching it, and so she learned a little bit about Star Wars. So I think next time she comes, we're gonna have a Star Wars watching party and try and squeeze in a couple in a weekend. So she lives 2.5 hours away. I have no siblings. She doesn't either. She's my only cousin. I want her closer. But when you're a chemical engineer, you work, where there are mills and industrial things. So anyways, I'm gonna get her down here though. I'm trying. Yeah. I also watched that on Netflix. I think it was called Triple Frontier. It was okay. Do I want those 2 hours back? No, because I like Charlie Hunnam from Oh, gosh. No. What's the show? He was in Pacific Rim. He was also in Sons of Anarchy. There it goes. Yeah, so I was happy to watch him, which I get such a kick out of his American accent because I think he's British or Australian, but I think he's British. Anyways, yeah, so it has lots of big names in it, and it was okay. So I think I've told you everything I wanted to tell you for this week. I hope that you are finding a reason to work on a blanket, finishing up those last 18 inches, get to the end of that, or whatever. Just put some mileage on your scrap Afghan that you're working on. Come join us in the chatter thread and use the hashtag binding off blankets. So I'm thinking I'm going to do this as a yearly knit along. So that's the thought process. So should be a drinking game with me today. But anyways, okay, I'm gonna go and let you get back to your day. I hope you got some knitting in while we were chatting, and I hope you get lots more knitting in. So enjoy your week. Bye.